What's going on, everybody? It's Henry Eisenstein here with EXP Realty, and I'm hanging with my man, Connor Heinzmann. Thank you for being with us, my man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good seeing you, man. And by the way, it's his birthday coming up, so this is super special. Right? How old are you turning again?
It's gonna be the big 25.
25. Just turned 20. I just turned 26 a little while ago, and it's crazy to think like I've been in this entrepreneurship game for call it 6 years right now, and it is wild to think about how I've changed in every single aspect in the last 6 years. So I am curious, before you got into real estate, which this is going to be a lot about real estate going forward here, but before you got into real estate, rewind the clocks a little bit, wherever you want to pick up, childhood or high school, whatever you feel like makes sense. But where did this all come from,
Sure. Right, so my background is not in real estate at all. I did not grow up financially literate. I knew how to save money, but I didn't know anything about investing. The stock market always seemed alien to me. I had an uncle that tried to push it on me, but it never really took to until I got a little bit older. I went into college. I was super into exercise, so I figured I would study exercise science. I made it all 4 years. I enjoyed what I was studying. I liked the sciences, but then I started interning for a chiropractor.
And it's funny because I feel like this is when we met.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about.
So started interning for a chiropractor, didn't know where I wanted to go, chiropractics, physical therapy. Started interning and realized I didn't want to go anywhere near any of that. And it was just basically because the career didn't suit my personality, what I was looking to get out of life. And so then I figured, wow, this is scary. I just wasted 4 years of my life, and I haven't thought about any backup plan. So, getting out of college, not wanting to go into that career, I thought maybe I would just start making money. So I started working in construction, trying to stockpile money, figure out what I was going to do, pick up some skills. And then, I realized that wasn't fulfilling me either. And I started saying, okay, I can't do this the rest of my life. I got to figure out a plan. So I had a fortunate experience where a family friend was involved in real estate. And I just had opened up to him one day, said, hey man, I'm really, life isn't going good for me right now. I'm very fortunate, but I'm not being fulfilled. I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. So, and he said to me, you should think about real estate. You should get involved in real estate. I could teach you a thing or two myself, but really the best thing for you to do if you want to get a quick crash course is go get your license. Why not go get licensed? So I started taking the course to get my real estate license, and this was probably around the same time that I met Henry, maybe a little bit later. And in that time, I was getting my real estate license, and I started looking for investment deals because this family friend of mine said, listen, if you can bring value to me, then, one hand washes the other. We can work together. So I started simultaneously getting my license and speaking with brokers about how to find investment deals.
And we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, this is all we talk about.
It's so crazy about it. It's so crazy, man.
But just started grinding away, and took about 6 months of just picking up the phone and getting in front of people before, and a lot of failed attempts. A lot of deals that didn't go through, that were close and just never closed. And finally, I found an investment property that was fit the criteria for what we were looking for, and was able to bring value to this family friend investor and to myself. So that's really what got the ball rolling. And then from that point on, just
sky's the limit.
Yeah, got involved with Henry and started scaling.
Yeah, I love it, man. And it's crazy because we're sitting in the property right now.
Yeah.
That's why I figured we shoot here. But it's kind of cool, man, because it's like I remember we met somewhere around 2 years ago, 2 and change, and I was doing mastermind events, and 20, 30 people in a room, and we were all kind of talking about ways to grow and scale and fixing our mindsets, and it was really amazing. And it's friggin' insane, man, because I still remember us talking about getting into the sports, the chiropractic world, and physical therapy and all that kind of stuff. And it's like it's interesting. It's like for all of you watching right now, it's like a lot of people don't It's not like you flip a switch and all of a sudden you go into real estate, or flip a switch and all of a sudden now you're in stocks or whatever the case may be. It's like it's a gradual, slow build of educating yourself. It's like, again, you said 6 months, right?
6 months until I found the first deal. I mean, it was
and plus the courses, plus the books, plus the your class and all this other stuff that people don't take into consideration.
Yeah, and that was one of the points. It wasn't only the real estate course, but it was other literature. I was reading. Think and Grow Rich. I was reading.
Great book. If you're not, Think and Grow Rich. Was the other one?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, these are killer books that, like, again, if you don't have an inkling of real estate, but it is that thing in your head where, like, you're like, maybe I should touch on this, maybe I should look into this. It's an insane book to pick up. How did that hit you different? Like, what did you learn from that book? Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Well, especially just the value that can be created through real estate. You want to. I really learned investing in general.
What was the idea of it?
Yeah, I had no concept of investing. I didn't understand what an asset was. I didn't know how to create wealth, and that book kind of gives you a different perspective and gives you the mindset of, okay, this is how it's done.
Yeah, like a lot of people, when you grow up, and again, I didn't come from a crazy amount of money in my family, and I know the background here too, and it's like a lot of us chase liabilities. We chase the cars, we chase the watches, we chase the vacations, we chase all this flashy stuff, which is cool for social media, but we don't chase assets, which is what the wealthy people chase, right? They chase after real estate, right? Things that pay them every single month, chase businesses and real estate and stocks and all those other things. And it's amazing because if you just chase it with the same passion, right? If you chase it with the same passion that the people chases watches, belts, and all this stupid stuff, it's crazy what you can turn your life into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest things is, like you were saying, you're chasing that with passion. And one of the best ways to get involved in this is to make it something that you like doing. You have to enjoy doing it. You have to be passionate. You have to be ambitious, and you have to be willing to get yourself in front of people.
Absolutely.
And make mistakes.
So many people are so against that, and it's funny because a lot of people talk to me about failure, right? And I know we've talked about this thousands of times together, where it's like failure to me is just quitting. I can't fail unless I quit. So I have no fear of it. Because to me, like when I'm calling on, how many deals probably you and I together have called on? Thousands of deals we've called on and inquired and walked property. Like, think about how many units and properties we've walked, right? It's insane, right? And how many deals like you're making offers on, and you're doing all the right stuff, and it's like you just keep getting mentally beat up because you think that it's not working, right? However, you haven't had enough chances. You know what I mean? It's like we're just putting in enough chances in the hat. Just putting our hat in the ring enough times. You're eventually gonna hit gold.
And that's the truth. It's just getting in front of people, getting your face out there, and talking to people. You never know who the next person you're going to meet is. You never know who's going to walk through the door.
Yeah, and this property that you bought here was on the market, right?
Yeah, I would actually, because I was so proactive in trying to get in front of people, I was able to find someone who had knowledge of it before it was going to be listed on the market. So it was technically off market when I.
So you spoke to the broker?
Yes.
So again, look, if you're looking in getting into investing in real estate, if you don't know a lot of real estate brokers like myself who really understand investing, it is at least your first step, right? Regardless of the money part and all the other things that can easily be obtained, and we can teach you how to do that, at least get to know the people in the inner circles, right? The people who control the real estate. Right? Get in touch with a million brokers out by you. Get to know them. Become friends with them. It's like, look, we're at the lunch all the time, right? Again, we get to know each other at a different level. And it's like, now when that happens, right? Now it's not so weird. Like, now it's like, now when I find a deal, he's one of the first people I call. You know what I mean? And like that inside track can be worth millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone's looking for deals.
Yeah, don't think that because you don't have the money doesn't mean you can't get into it. You need two things for every single deal. And that's, you need money and you need...
the connection.
Connection.
Yeah, you need the money and the connections. It's like, listen, and by the way, with the money part, you don't even need the money because you can find people with the money. Right? Like, by the way, like we're sitting in a property, this is not a cheap property, right? But like you didn't come to the table with any of it, right? You had a partner who came to the table with the money, right? Which is, by the way, you need one or the other. You need the deal or the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're both important. You can't do a deal without either one, right? But again, for all of you watching, it's like, don't think about like, oh, I don't have this, right? You just have to find the deal. Really, if you control the deal, at the end of the day, the money comes. You tell me right now, for all of you listening, if you found an insanely good deal that someone's not going to give you the money for it, if it was that good of a deal, money will come to you.
Absolutely.
without a question.
Absolutely.
Right, and think about it like this on a higher level, and explain to them, right, again, 24, about to be 25 years old. If you found a deal, right, we were just talking about a deal worth how much?
$19 million.
$19 million, right? You're going to be 25 years old. We're talking about a deal that's going to be worth $19 million. We're trying to get it for what, 15, 16? Somewhere in that range?
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice, right? It'd be a good deal. Point being is, like, listen, not that he has to have 15, 16, $18 million in his bank account. We know how to find that money, right? Because if the deal's good enough, the money comes, right? So don't get caught up in saying, I don't have the money or I don't have the knowledge, because here's the crazier part. You only need, here's the best part, right? You just need to have done enough research over a period of time, which is not many years. We're talking, what, how many years have you been in this game?
About 2.5 now.
2.5 years, right? Nothing crazy. Kid's 25 years old, right? I mean, it's insane to me, right? I'm 26. It's like, in just a few short years, anybody with your background, there was no real estate there.
No, I didn't even understand what an asset was.
Exactly. It's like, again, but like, it's amazing where you pick up a book, like, right, a book, you read it, it sparks something in your head, you just go on this slow journey, and who knew in 24 months you'd own what you own right now, and you'd be on track to own what you're on track to own within the next 12 to 24 months. I mean, it's just insane. But again, it starts with just going into it and making the phone calls and connecting with the right people and being okay with the quote-unquote failure of making the phone calls and not getting the deal, right? And so many of us don't even want to fall into that space.
Yeah, resiliency
right?
is huge.
100%.
It's huge. You have to be willing to bounce back.
100%.
Have to be.
Right, because by the way, through COVID, for all of us here, we all got hurt. Everyone in the world got hurt. Different level of capacities, right? Everyone got hurt during COVID. And that being said, though, it's like the most resilient of us made last year the best year ever.
Absolutely.
Right? And by the way, I have so much empathy for the people who got hurt, right? Because I felt it. We all felt it. Mm-hmm. But I felt like for a split moment, and by the way, there were moments where I cried to myself. I'm like, I'm about to lose everything. Mm-hmm. Right? And I thought I was doing pretty well, right? Making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year at 24, right? 25 years old, making $500,000 a year, and like thinking that like, oh, I'm invincible, right? Last year threw me for a loop. But again, what ends up happening is when you have this crazy resiliency and you go like, I am going to make it or die trying, right? I put everything back on my shoulders and said, there's no question about if anymore. Mm-hmm. I am going to make it, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get back on top. And again, made last year the best year of my life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And
so many people say, again, like, let's say this, right? Let's say you're talking to yourself 2 years ago, right before you got into real estate, right before the click, or right after you got into it, and like you just had that notion of like maybe real estate's the thing. What would you say to them? You're talking to yourself 2 years ago, right before you're like right as you're getting into the game.
I would say that aside from real estate, the one thing that you can always do is work on your mentality and your attitude.
Powerful. And
you can always try to work on yourself.
100%.
And if you have a good attitude going into things, if you're a hard worker, if you're ambitious, if you're willing to accept defeat but move on and come off stronger from that, those are the attributes that you need to be successful in anything in life.
1,000%. Outside of the knowledge of the business, outside the knowledge of real estate or sales or anything, it's understanding the mental game. Mm-hmm. Everything in business and in sales and making money is 80% mental, or more, to be honest. Right? It's an 80% mental game. Because knowing everything I knew last year, it wasn't about knowing something different that made me go for, basically because everyone got hit hard. It's like I almost went to zero in income, for like a month. Right? But it's like it wasn't because I needed to know more about real estate and sales. It's that I had to get this working again, right? And I had to get refocused better than ever and say, I already knew what needed to be done. I had done it before. Mm-hmm. But now it's about like, how do I get back into the right mentality to kick this thing off like never before?
Absolutely.
Right? And again, like for all of you watching, you got again, pick up some of these books. Again, we brought out some of them. I mean, like this is a great book that both of us have read is really good. We have Grant Cardone, which I don't know if the book's over here or not, but
the biggest takeaway from this book, if I can say, is he talks about in it that he was trying to get a deal, so he ended up sending this client a plant every single day, like a little. We'll say he started with
an office plant, sort of like this,
something like this. Yeah. But eventually, this guy wasn't biting, so he just kept scaling up, and every day he would send a bigger plant to the point where he was sending,
trees,
literal trees, to this guy's office to garner his attention. So.
But listen, guess what? Did he get the deal?
He got the deal.
He got the deal. So again, I love that mindset, right? It's just like a whatever it takes mindset, right? And it's like, you think about it in so many different ways that a lot of us just try to think about why it won't work, right? Or the obstacles that are in front of us, and all that we see is it's just there's nothing stopping me from doing this, right? What do I have to do to get it done? Not how can it be done? It's just how do I get it done, right? That's it. There's no question. Like I know I can do it. I just need to know the next steps, right? There's not an if. It's not an if anymore, right? And it's crazy to think that within a few short years anybody can start thinking this way. Again, even comes from just a book of understanding that kind of those little things, and this actually affects every part of life,
for sure.
Right? It affects your relationships and every part of it, where it's like, listen, if you, 9 times out of 10, and again, I had to hear this years ago when I was going through my depression, where it's like, I had to make the change, right? I kept blaming everybody else, saying, man, I wish these people were different, or man, I wish they acted differently, or I wish they treated me differently, or, all these different things were like, I kept pointing fingers at these people, and then realizing, wait a second, I need to act differently.
You're the only one in control.
Exactly. I can only control me, my actions, my emotions, right? And once you get you right, the amount of people you can help is endless.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? It's just so crazy to me.
And it's small changes, and, with everything going on in the world right now, the best thing you can do is try to have small acts of kindness for other people. Try to do the right thing. Try to do right by other people, because
it goes so long.
The micro affects the macro. It only grows. It's only going to help other people. And
absolutely.
And we have the ability to change the world with the little things that we do.
Absolutely. And it's like I look at it like I've always tried to be a beacon of light for the people around me. I want to be that energy, right? When I walk in a room, I want the energy to change. Yeah. Right. Like I want to be at a high level. I want to be smiling. I want to be positive, because it's like, listen, it's so crazy to me, because I almost look at it like I've heard this a few times. It is hard regardless of what you try to do, right? It's hard to be negative all the time. It's hard to be negative all the time. It's hard to be, pessimistic all the time, right? It's just as hard to be positive all the time and optimistic all the time. You might as well just make the choice. Why would you choose to be pessimistic or negative all the time if they're both hard?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We have this choice. And it's, if you have this choice, right? If you have this choice, and regardless of what your decision is, it is hard. You might as well just go for the one that makes you it turns your life into the more beautiful option.
That's the mindset. Right?
And it's fascinating. So it's like for you, right? And again, I want to talk a little bit more about the mastermind for a second. At our masterminds, just for a lot of us, because I'm probably going to kickstart these off again.
Sure.
Again, let's talk about you're talking to somebody maybe in high school, college years. We're talking about mindset a little bit. Mm-hmm. What are a few things you would say to yourself younger years, not talking business, just talking mindset only? What would you say to yourself years ago to maybe just speed things up a little bit about, getting yourself into the right mind space?
It's optimism. It's, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a way to look at every single situation and find the glass half full. You just have to be willing to frame it in that way.
Sure. Look, and again, I'm not just trying to pat you on the back here, but 25 years old this weekend, and we're talking about doing $20 million deals. That's not normal. Mm-hmm. I want you to know that. And I love to hear conversations like this, because I've been doing this for years now, and it's not common. Right? But again, I want you to understand, being that different, there is a reason.
Absolutely.
Thinking that he doesn't look at a $20 million deal at 25 saying, I can't do this.
Why can I?
Exactly. But it's so crazy, because what's crazier is that if I look at you right now in the face and say, you couldn't do it,
I would want to prove you wrong.
Exactly right. I love that, right? And it's a $20 million deal. Do you understand that it has nothing to do with the money? He will find a way, if it's a good enough deal, of course.
Only if it's a good deal.
Exactly, of course, right? Because you're not going to lose money on it. But it's not the obstacles of the money or the know-how. It's like he will find a way to do it. The money doesn't even scare him anymore. Isn't that crazy to you, man?
Absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
Things happen quick, but it's... it happens quick if you're working towards that.
100%.
If you're looking to make that change.
Look, again, for all of you now, it's like you can go from doing, and don't get me wrong, your first deal wasn't $20 million.
No.
Right? But again, you had learned through so many other deals that were a lot smaller than $20 million, clearly. Look, there's a starting place. And we're not telling you to start at a, 80-unit apartment building or a, multi-million-dollar business. We're not telling you to start there. There is a start, there is a small step to take. Mm-hmm. Right? And you worked with this guy for a little while. Absolutely. To understand the game and understand running numbers and other things. What else would you be telling yourself, again, just starting off in the mindset game? What else are we talking about? What else could we be telling these younger guys here?
Stay hungry. Stay hungry. There's people out there working hard, and you got to do the same. And at the same time, enjoy the process, All
right, so let's dive deep into this, right? So stay hungry. What does that mean to you? Stay hungry. What does that mean to you?
It means you want it more than other people. You're willing to put the time in. You're willing to make the effort and to put yourself out there, and you're not afraid of the consequences.
I almost look at it like competition.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm playing a game against everybody else in this room.
Absolutely.
Right? And everybody out there. Right?
Everybody in the world.
Exactly. Like everyone's fighting to their portion of success, their piece of this pie, right? Mm-hmm. Of success. And I feel like it's like, and a lot of us get caught up in the minutia of like comparing ourselves to the competition. Mm-hmm. See, don't get me wrong. I believe I'm always in competition, but my biggest competition is me and my potential. I just know I'm capable of doing more. Mm-hmm. Right, and I look at somebody else, and I just always get inspired. So, like when you're talking about, like, dude, I saw this deal for $20 million. I'm trying to figure out how to get this done. I'm like, oh shit, like I gotta step on my game. Like, I'm not looking at enough deals, right? Like that's the only thing I don't think about. Like, damn, like, screw this guy. Like, what is he trying to talk about? Whatever. Like, I don't understand like people who look at people like that. I get inspired.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I gotta step up my game. I get inspired by that.
And it goes back to, this is a relationship business. So
100%.
You got to make connections with people, and you never want to step on anybody's toes or stab anybody in the back. I mean, everybody that you work with is, that's an opportunity for you to learn and grow from them, and hopefully put things together in the future. So every person I've met through this business, I try to stay in contact with. I try to wish them a happy birthday when it's their birthday, and
absolutely,
just make sure that they're doing well. And if you help other people out, they're going to help you out.
Absolutely, I think that's super powerful. So, and then we were talking about the last one, which is
enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process. So enjoy the process. What does that mean to you? Enjoy the process.
Well, like we were just saying before, I mean, this is a game of life, right? We're all playing a game, whether we want to believe that or not. And there's ways to win the game. And I don't think winning the game necessarily means that you're the wealthiest, or you have the best car or the nicest house. I think it's more about, what you've done with your life, who you've created to be yourself, who you are, and
powerful.
And really, how much fun you had doing it, the process, and learning to enjoy the struggle, to embrace the suck, to get out there and
I love that,
and kind of make it happen.
Yeah, like look, I mean, like again, success is actually a huge consistency game. Right? It's a huge consistency game. It almost doesn't even matter about the results. It's all about a consistency. It's a consistency factor. It's just like at the very beginning of any business, you're not going to go from zero to millions and millions of dollars. But I know for a fact that if you can out consistent your competition, mm-hmm. right? If you can be more persistent and more consistent than your competition, you're always going to win.
That's powerful,
right? Truthfully, and it's like no matter what, it's just a matter of time. Right? Because it's an abnormal thing for, a 26-year-old to sell 30, 40, 50 million dollars worth of real estate. But I've just been more consistent than other people. I make more calls than other people. I make more connections, and I'm more purposeful about my communication and staying in touch and how I care about people. That all matters. I'm just more consistent.
And what better way to be consistent than to start those habits early on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So which powerful habits would you say to focus on?
Wake up in the morning.
Wake up in the morning.
Wake up and be excited.
Are you one of the guys who wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or?
No, but I like to wake up in the morning. I'm not one of those guys who's going to say get up and go run 5 miles. I don't do that. I wake up in the morning. I make a cup of coffee. I read the news. I see what's going on. I like a slow morning. I like to kind of enjoy that cup of coffee, enjoy that morning, and prepare myself for the rest of the day, where I can make the right actionable decisions to do what needs to get done to be productive throughout the rest of my day. And it works differently for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people say they have to get up in the morning and they have to get in the shower, they have to get to the gym, but for other people it's about embracing that morning, enjoying it, being thankful,
Sure.
have a gratitude practice.
Absolutely.
And then you can go from there.
Okay, so we'll dive into these habits real quick. So number one, we're talking about waking up in the morning and treating your morning like gold, right? Mm-hmm. I learned a long time ago the work that you do, success is built on the hours of 7 and 12 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I've learned that from you.
Between what you do at 7 o'clock in the morning and 12 noon is what makes your success, mm-hmm. right? So I've looked at it like, in full transparency here, like I'm a night person. Like I'm such a night person. I go to bed between 1 and 3 in the morning every night. Like,
unbelievable.
Every single night. And I wake up somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. And but when I wake up, I literally shower, change, get ready. I'm in the car within 20 minutes. Like ready to go, fully suited up every single day. Mm-hmm. And it's like this, like again, outside of when you wake up, and I've learned this from a lot of people, outside of when you wake up, it's about like, there's a lot of like routines that I have in my morning, but like more than anything else, I don't even know if you've ever seen me not in a suit.
I actually was thinking about that today. I've never seen you not in a suit.
Well, and by the way, like that is a consistency factor.
I was actually wondering what Henry looked like in a t-shirt.
I am jacked underneath this, all right? I am a huge fitness guy. But, like, understand, like, listen, right? Like, that's why these don't really fit too well. It's very tight. Understand, like, listen, this suit makes me feel a different way, right? And I made a promise to myself years ago. I was like, I never want to be in a position where I'm like, wait a second, I don't want to walk into any sort of meeting or even a coffee shop and end up running into somebody and then seeing me a certain way, right? Because this is how I view myself. I see myself as a successful person. I want to portray that to the world because I feel better wearing this. I feel more confident wearing this, right? So it's like I'm in this zone mentally where I'm like, okay, the person like that I aspire to be in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, will be wearing a suit and tie. I'm going to wear a suit and tie.
And that's completely personal. That's for yourself.
100%.
And that's
this means nothing to other people.
You know, you're not doing it for anybody else.
Exactly.
And if you live your life trying to do things for other people, you know, you're never going to find that true success. You have to live your life for yourself and,
Absolutely.
You know, dress how you want to dress because that makes you feel successful and that's who you want to be and where you want to get to.
Absolutely.
I think that's super important advice.
100%. And it's like, yeah, so I mean, look, at the end of the day, I want us to touch on a few things here, right? So we talked about, you know, again, dressing for success. Again, this matters to me. And again, it makes me feel good, makes me feel confident. This is a powerful move for me, right? And then, by the way, this is a habit that I've gotten into. This is a powerful habit, right? Waking up early. Again, look, I used to be at the gym before 4 a.m., right, with a mutual friend, Brandon, right?
Yeah, I remember.
So me and Brandon would be at the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning, wild. And again, it depends on when you go to bed, and there's a lot of other factors there. And it was just a consistency thing and getting myself in the right mindset. So, but again, I wake up way later now, and I work out at night now. So it's like, again, it just affects, I had to change my routines to accommodate to the new life that I have.
Yeah,
right?
There's no one recipe for success.
Exactly.
It's interpersonal. It's everybody does.
But it's back to the consistency thing of like, I don't care when you wake up, it's getting straight to freaking work, right? It's getting right to work and like working on things that matter.
Yeah.
Because by the way, I read a book a long time ago by Brian Tracy called Eat That Frog, and I got one thing out of it, which is just the first thing you do in the morning is the most difficult thing you can possibly do, right? The most difficult thing you just have to get out of the way that you never like doing, get it out of the way. So I make my most difficult phone calls right after my team meeting at 9 to 9:30 I have my team meeting every morning. And from 9:30 to 10 o'clock, it's my red flag time, which is like the most annoying, biggest headache stuff that has to be handled today, no matter what. I get that stuff out of the way. I lock myself in my conference room until that stuff is handled, right? So that's priority number one. Habit number two. What's another big habit for you?
Well, things you can't do is definitely sit on social media. You know, you can't just go
100%.
through and see what everybody else is doing and wonder why you're not doing that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I feel like it's also just as much as what not to do as it is what to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so eliminate distractions again for the first few hours of your morning. Like, you know, watching, you know, get on social media and all this other stuff is just an absolute no.
Yeah.
Love it.
You're gonna do a lot more harm than good by doing that.
1000%. So, all right, let's dive into number two when it comes to successful habits. Right? What have you read? What have you seen? What have you heard that you feel like is really powerful to dive into as a second powerful habit?
Definitely networking, putting yourself out there, not being afraid to talk to people, and it feels weird, you know. It feels difficult at first, and it doesn't happen overnight. But you know, with time, consistency, you know, people start to take you seriously.
Absolutely, and it won't happen overnight. It really won't. And it's just like sometimes you're going to feel like the world's against you and you're going to feel like you're not doing the right stuff and, you know, you don't know where everyone's going to lead to. Like, not every single person you meet is going to turn into something amazing.
No.
You know, but you just might get really lucky and we turn into a relationship like this.
Absolutely.
You know? It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just about putting yourself out there, like you said, and just really imagine like this. I look at every person I meet for the very first time could be worth millions and millions and millions of dollars to me. That's how you need to treat them. Right? If that person was going to pay you millions of dollars over the next 10 or 20 years, how would you treat that person? Like gold. Mm-hmm. I'd want to know everything about you. I'd want to know your birthday, your anniversary, your kids' names, you know, like who's in your life and like spend a lot of time with you, right? Like I treat these people like my best friends. Right?
And the beauty of it being a relationship business is, you know, you really do meet good people, you know, outside of, you know, creating value for each other. I mean, they're people that you want in your life. You know, Henry is like you said, he's a very bright light in a lot of people's lives, and you know, certainly in mine. And you know, it's been great to get to know him better, to, you know, get to know his family, him to know mine. You know, create a network around that.
It's like you can call on these people whenever you want, and it's like it's weird because a lot of people go like, "How do you network?" It's like, or people are like, "How do you make friends?" I'm like, "Do you understand what you're asking?" Right?
It's your business.
Yeah, like how do you develop these deep relationships? I'm like, how do you make friends? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, you get to know these people. You know what I mean? Like it's like take the business out of it. Mm-hmm. Pretend like there was going to be no business. It was just like this person was just a genuine human being. What would you do? Right? You get to know him. You get to know him on a really deep level. And now it's like, again, now I just have a lot of friends who are very successful, and I can call them anytime and ask them advice, or if I need something, they're right there for me. And it's like, I have attorneys and accountants and engineers and architects and all these other people who are just like, hey, Henry, how you doing? How you been? You know, thank you for the card. I appreciate it, you know? And it's like, we're close friends, and it's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
and through networking, you know, you're going to meet other people that are like, hey, do you have an attorney that I can use? Hey, do you have,
exactly.
You know,
and it's crazy because, yeah, absolutely. Like, it just kind of magnifies. And, like, I do dinners, right? So the thing that has really changed for me is networking dinners. So what I try to do is on a weekly basis, and it doesn't always happen every week, but I really push for it. I make it a priority in my life. Every week, I try to do one dinner, minimum, with new people. And I always have, like, one friend, where it's like, if you're like me and Connor going out to dinner, and I say, hey, Connor, I need you to bring a friend or two. And I'm going to bring a friend or two, and let's network a little bit. And what ends up happening is that over the course, I've been doing this for years now, and what ends up happening is your network grows unbelievably. Mm-hmm. You're forced to spend an hour or two with people that you've never met, right? And you kind of just hang out and talk and get to know each other at a deep level. And now here's the craziest thing. I've had dinners with some very, very successful people just because I was very close with their friends. Mm-hmm. They brought them, and all of a sudden now they're like close friends with mine. And now they'll just take my call anytime I want. It had nothing to do with anything outside of just having dinner.
Absolutely.
Crazy, right?
And you don't develop these skills without doing it.
Absolutely. And by the way, the very first dinner, I can assure you, I was probably just eating the whole time. Like, I just like not having a conversation and just like, you know, focus on my food. But, you know, again, it has become such a gift in my life, this art of networking. Because I am nothing without the people in my life. Like, you know, we talk about the network is your net worth. Mm-hmm. It is so simple to grow it. Mm-hmm. And everyone goes like, well, with COVID and this and that or whatever, like, guess what? I was doing Zoom lunches. I was doing Zoom dinners. Like, hey, man, like, listen, like, why don't we just catch up? We'll do it over, Zoom. You know, if you don't mind, you know, maybe invite one of your friends. I'll invite one of mine, and we'll just chat. And guess what? Half the time, I can assure you, it went nowhere. Mm-hmm. I met the person, never talked to them again. Just wasn't the right connection, wasn't the right people, wasn't like I was nasty, but we just didn't hit it off. And there are some people where it just skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. Now they're like dear friends of mine. I've only known them like 6 months. It's crazy.
And the number one indication of, you know, success in life is really your community and your family.
Absolutely.
I mean, above any other factor, that's what's going to lead to true happiness, true success.
It's just the people around you. Guys, if you took all of my money away, all the business, everything else, and you just looked at my relationships, it would be unbelievable, and I would have everything back in 2 seconds.
I was going to say.
Seriously.
It would come right back.
It would come right back because of the people I'm surrounded by. Right, because that is like my foundation. Those relationships are my foundation, and as I grow, they're growing. Mm-hmm. Right, and all of a sudden they don't allow me to fall very far, right? Because I can't. It's impossible, right? I have that support system right here.
Yeah. We were just talking about this earlier over lunch about bringing people up with us.
Absolutely.
You know, who else can we bring in that we can elevate and, you know, get involved and change, hopefully have the opportunity to change someone else's life.
Absolutely, and you know, and it's crazy where it's like it's nothing crazy. Yeah. It's just an opportunity. Mm-hmm. Right, a simple phone call, a simple lunch meeting goes such a long way with some people. It's unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Right, let's talk about number 3. So, third top success habit for entrepreneurs in their 20s.
Prioritize the things that are going to pay you dividends in life, which is, you know, your own health and your relationships. But you got to prioritize these things.
Like, I feel like so many people don't value their own health conditions, and I'm not just talking about physicality, but even though that's a huge one. But just also your mental state.
Yeah, and mental health is the easiest thing to lose control of these days. And you and I both know from first-hand experience that, you know, that has to be in check above all other things. You know, you have to make sure that your mental health is in order and your physical health is in order. Sure. Because it'll elevate everybody around you. It'll create connections with people.
Absolutely. And look, it starts with you. It starts with me, right? Like, it starts with like me bettering me. Getting myself to a point where I can then help other people, right? And the problem is, like, again, for all of you listening, you know that one person in your group, right? Maybe it was years ago because maybe you don't spend any time with them anymore, who was just like a negative energy, that time sucked. You're like, well, every time I hang out with this person, you're like, I'm done. Like, I just hate it. I dread spending time with these people, right? Those people, right, were us years ago. We've all been probably that person at one time or another. A lot of us have just worked on it. Right, and a lot of us need to work on it. Mm-hmm. right? So again, for you listening here today, you got to be looking at yourself in the mirror and be like, listen, I can't change other people, but I can change me.
Yeah, and in addition to that, it's cliche to say, but you know, people will remember you for how you made them feel,
Absolutely.
not for what you said. And
Absolutely.
you know, if you can remember that and always try to, you know, make people feel comfortable, make people feel at ease, make them feel like, you know, they're an old friend, even if you're just meeting them for the first time.
Powerful.
Those are the types of relationships that are going to create value in you and their life.
Absolutely. Super powerful. And, you know, I feel like I try to make it a priority for me. Like I was saying, I treat everybody like gold. Because I don't know what it's going to turn into. Right? Everybody. I treat the person the other side of the counter like gold. Everybody in my life, if I meet you for the first time, you will see an unbelievable version of me. Right? It doesn't go down for me not knowing you. We just get more close, right? And it's more comfortable. But I treat everybody like gold because I never know where that might go.
No.
I just don't know.
And you don't know what it's going to do for that person.
Absolutely.
You know, maybe the person across the counter when you're buying your gum from 7-Eleven is having a really bad day.
Exactly.
And, you know, the interaction that you just had with them could change the course of that day. It could be, you know, the stepping stone that propels them to a better decision later down the road.
It's so crazy because, like, people go, like, oh, how are you today? And, like, every single time someone says that to me, I'm like, oh, fantastic, unbelievable, terrific, fantastic, whatever, right? And everyone's like, they're all like, what did you, like, why, like, that, oh, it's great for you, you know, like, and they just, like, they take it back, like, it's this weird thing, like, I just don't know how to be negative. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't know how to do that. I just have to be a certain way at all times, right? You don't know how that affects them.
Yeah, and you trained yourself to do that.
Exactly.
And that's the goal.
Absolutely. And it's crazy because it's like, it's even, like, I want you to realize, it is so insane to me because, again, like, you know, sometimes these relationships turn into something insane. Or, like, there's a Starbucks in downtown Red Bank. I go in there, they all know me by name. They all know me by name. Everybody, there's like 15 people who work there, and I get free coffee all the time. And it does nothing, but it's just cool. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm calling you all out, okay? Starbucks, if you're listening, right? Like, your staff is giving me free coffee. But listen, it goes such a long way. It has nothing to do with the free coffee, but it's just so much to do with, like, they all smile when I walk in. They're like, hey, Henry, how are you? They love it. You know, it's just so crazy how much that changes. You know, and I'm a huge, like, again, just talk about something really fast. Like, I'm a huge tipper. Like, I've been in the industry, right? Like, you know, a lot of us have been in the food service industry, so I tip really well. But it's like, whenever you're out and you could just tip an extra $1 or whatever the case would be, or, you know, I always pay. I do this a lot where I'll pay for the people behind me in line, or I'll leave a 20 and then just say, like, whatever it is, run it out for like a $5 cup of coffee. It's so crazy how people view that. You know, it's like, I paid $3 for your coffee. Like, it's nothing. It's like, whatever. But it's like, people like, why would you, like, it just changes people's perspective on life.
Yeah, and it's not going to make or break you either.
Absolutely. So again, I met this guy down in downtown Red Bank, and this guy always just walks around town, you know, scraggly guy, doesn't really have any place to go, and just always hangs out around town, right? And it's like, it is insane to say that, you know, one day I was just like, hey, you know, we were just walking by Starbucks, and I saw him walking. I was like, hey, come in with me. You want a cup of coffee? He's like, what? And he kind of followed me in. I bought him a cup of coffee, and it's just like, every time I've seen this guy since, his energy is so different. And it's like a $3 cup of coffee has energized this guy like I've never seen before. And it's just a simple thing like that can go such a long way, and nobody like, it's like, you hardly ever, I don't think I've ever had, I think maybe one time in my life I had somebody buy me a cup of coffee. And it means nothing. But it's just like, wow. That's so cool. Like, have you ever been in the tolls where someone paid for you in front, or no?
No, but I did have a situation the other day where I was at the grocery store, and I was checking out, and the cashier told me, she handed me a Hershey's bar, and she said, hey, the woman in front of you bought this.
That's
for
awesome.
you.
How does it make you feel,
man? She actually bought 2 of them, one for me and one for the person behind her, and it feels awesome. You know, awesome. Those small acts of kindness are what we need to prioritize in life.
Especially now.
Especially now. I mean, at all times, but you're right, especially now, because you know, like we were saying before, the micro affects the macro, and that's what's going to make a difference.
Absolutely. Look, if you guys are watching this today, I urge you to follow this channel, follow this platform, follow me, right? And obviously follow Connor. It's been an awesome pleasure, man, having you on here today. I really appreciate it. Listen, guys, it starts with right now. It starts with working on you. It starts with taking small steps each and every single day just to better yourself, and realize it is a journey. And you better enjoy it, right? Because life just will keep moving and keep moving and keep moving. And you're always going to be looking back saying, I wish I started a little bit sooner. So look, I appreciate you, man, coming on here. This was awesome. And again, comment down below if you have any comments or anything like that, questions or anything like that. And I'll see you in the next video.